When you think of a rocket, you generally think of something that is a firm structure that can do something like launch a payload. Think of that something being firm and strong. So what exactly are these holes in the body, ripping it apart and blowing it up? And of course, anything you would like to see covered in future episodes.
Off on a rocket, or heaven forbid a car on a rocket. Training teaches astronauts how to control what they usually can't to help them keep combat ready.
Gemini 3 were 6 objectives. Gemini 3 completed 3 successful orbits on March 23, 1965. There were 3 long-duration missions. This is important. Approximately 100,000 hours were spent on computer computations. Gemini 9A gave us our first sophisticated rendezvous experience. Command Pilot Stafford, a veteran of Gemini 6A, completed 3 different rendezvous within 24 hours with his angry alligator. 6A had moved within 1 foot of Gemini 7, but of course the 2 spacecraft could not dock. The first space dock came in March 1966. Astronaut Armstrong moves in very slowly, making his final approach, until he is about 3 feet from the target. He then holds his position, reading the status display panel on the Agena. When he docks, the Gemini Agena configuration will remain stable for almost 30 minutes. The control problems which developed were unrelated to the first successful dock in space. Gemini completed 9 successful dockings. Both crew members performed dockings on the final 2 missions, 11 and 12. Configuration by Command Pilot Young on Gemini 10. And it lifted his spacecraft to a new orbital altitude record of 414 nautical miles. Tasks in a 2-hour, 9-minute EVA. He performed such fundamental space work as activating an experiment, tightening and untightening bolts with an Apollo torque wrench, making electrical connections, and cleaning up his work area. It was therefore quite logical that the work of the crews at Cape Kennedy, who successfully launched 12 Gemini vehicles. Is Dr. E.P. Nye, Director of the Institute of Physics at the University of Minnesota.
Clock start. Field pressure running a little high. Roger. Roger, stand.
Getting a little high, flight. Roger. Go, flight. Roger. Capcom, word go.
We have a Seco here, flight. Roger. Set down. Call sign Rescue 1, the destroyer. 3, 2, 1. Retrofire.
They did not abort. We have simply edited together an isolated launch with shots of the flight controllers simulating that launch. Still,
Retrofire.
Areas lying within the 3 major zones of the Eastern Atlantic, the Mid-Pacific, and the Western Pacific. In the Western Pacific, the U.S. F. Mason,
Retrofire.
a destroyer. The Mason will cover 3 landing areas within Zone 3. Our station at 12 points. Astronauts have not only a complete survival kit to sustain them, but they are trained to live off the land, even desert and jungle.
Retrofire.
It's planned and coordinated by a NASA team of specialists. Him into direct contact with the highest levels of. But all of this, the red telephone and the contingency aircraft off Pago Pago Island, South Pacific, seems remote on the 16th of March.
Retrofire.
Gino, over.
Retrofire.
Zone 3 will be the planned landing zone for the next 3 revolutions. For 5.
Way to go, partner. You done it, boy. You done a good job. Do the thing. Boy, look at that sucker. That's beautiful. See the dipole? Do I ever? I see everything on that fella. Man, that's great. Man, that is really slick. That phenomenal time. So they're going to give you that time. And I'll check your little status display for you. I bet those Lockheed guys are just jumping up and down. The S-10 is on. Yeah. Okay.
Mason. A destroyer which had repetitiously practiced picking up a boilerplate model of Gemini in the waters of the Pacific came into its own. Millions of people suddenly learned that it existed aboard the Mason. At that point, we
Retrofire.
knew that the long months of training and the many simulations and the close interplay between NASA and the Department of Defense were sound. Came through with flying colors.
My shoulder. Would you believe it? That's it. That's pretty hard to believe. Would you believe 5? Mr. Sir.
Is when people come in, I greet them and I tell them how they doing. I will ask them how the kids doing. Most of the time they'll come up and they want a band.
What's a band?
Bam, that's the band. Bam, that's another band.
Board. Yes. Could we be a little serious for a moment, please?
Retrofire.
Torture ever devised by man. The water torture. A drop of water on the forehead every minute for 300 gallons. 300 gallons, Mr. Brown. Would you believe it?
That's pretty hard to believe.
Would you believe a quart?
I figured we didn't have a thing to lose.
I can't believe it.
Oh, well, watch this. I don't know if this will work or not, Shirley. Well, in my left hand, I have a feather. In my right hand, a hammer. They'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that? Said Mr. Gallo